I think I've opened the wrong. Okay. Please, can you see my screen now? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good morning,
Yes, sir.
sir.
You only need to maximize it, Prof.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do now. I think it's loading it. It's trying to maximize it. Okay. I think we are there now, right?
Sir, we can see the screen.
Okay. So I can go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Professor Adebo Ali from Education. I'm Professor Adebo Ali from Education. I'm standing in for my team lead, Professor Oje Shoyelu, who is unavoidably unable to make this presentation. Please bear with us. I've been having some challenges with my network, and I think I'm getting over it now. First and foremost, I want to welcome you to today's class on behalf of the Postgraduate College. Our discussion today is the unusual one, that is research ethics. We will be looking at different aspects, particularly as it regards, as it concerns their meaning, the source, what are the theories underlying it, what are the basic ethical guidelines, and then we talk about ethical standards. I want to inform you that we cannot cover the whole thing, so you still have to pick up your PG College textbook and then read. But I will try as much as possible to cover the basics and the major aspects. Thank you and good morning. I want to hope you are still hearing me, so I'm going to continue for now. First and foremost, what do we call ethics? What is the meaning of ethics? Ethics talks about the science of morality. That is the branch of philosophy that deals with distinctions between right and wrong. What is right, what is wrong? You will observe that one of the major problems, particularly with human beings, is who determines what is right and who determines what is wrong. In some circumstances, certain things may be right. In some other circumstances, they will be wrong. So what ethics deal with is to provide a standard upon which you can say this thing is right or this thing is wrong. Meanwhile, this aspect applies to various professions, particularly to us as academics. And it's also applied to them in law, in medicine, in military. In fact, I believe it applies more to us in education because there's a need to protect our learners, because the better we protect them, the more we protect them, the better for us all. Because the candidate will be able to gain more, he'll be able to think better, and then get him or herself involved in innovation and development. Because if you look at everything we are enjoying today, some people got it through research. That is why, as much as possible, we need to let people see the merits of research, particularly those of us who are learning research now. You will have to understand that research is the foundation of all these things we use today: the car, the electricity, the bulb, the fridge, all those things we enjoy in our life. They are products of research. If our system also permits proper research, you will observe that development will be rapid. But to be able to do such, we must be able to agree on what is right and what is wrong. Because what is right in a particular circumstance may be wrong in other circumstances. Now, when we now talk about ethics in research, what does it mean? Ethics in research refers to all these moral principles and guidelines that will govern the conduct of scientific inquiry, ensuring that studies respect human dignity, promote welfare, and uphold integrity. I'm going to briefly explain that. You see, our research must obey certain moral principles. We cannot be doing research and be destroying some other things or some other people. If we do such a thing, then it means our research does not even worth it at all. The development we are trying to target cannot happen. Therefore, we must obey certain moral principles and guidelines. Many of them have been set out in different documents, in different proclamations that we are going to look into as we go along with this class. Apart from that, all these moral principles and guidelines, we have to govern our conduct of inquiry, our scientific inquiry. Our inquiries are scientific to the extent that we are able to identify problem, we are able to generate plans to explore the problem, we are able to collect data to inform, we are able to analyze the data that we collect and then be able to come up with certain findings and probably to develop our community and our world that will now promote what we enjoy, how do we manage ourselves. Then ethics also ensures that all these our studies will now respect human dignity. We must to respect human dignity. The research that does not respect human dignity is actually causing damage. It's actually anti-development. It's not going to bring in anything meaningful. It must also promote welfare. We will see some of them as we go along. There is to uphold integrity. That is to say, you don't just cook up data and begin to analyze and begin to give us something that does not exist. So ethics ensure that we follow certain principles and guidelines that we now ensure that we uphold integrity. We say the truth, even if it is like that. You see, in many cases, I've seen situations where students will say, once there is no significant difference, it means the study does not worth it. It's not true. A no significant difference is also a result. You have to uphold integrity. You must show that, okay, this is what I found. That is what you found. It may not be exactly what others will find, and there may be reasons for it. We will say some of them as we go along. Apart from that, ethics seeks to balance the pursuit of knowledge with protection of the participants. Although we want to generate more knowledge, we want to look for advancement of the human race, but not at the expense of those people that we are going to use. It's not supposed to be so. We don't use people because we want to grow. We don't go to another country, do things that will destroy their own society because we want to advance our own society. So ethics helps us to balance the pursuit of knowledge with protection of our participants. It also sees to the protection of even those of us researchers. Certain things that can destroy us, ethics says no, we should be protected from it. Yes, and it also seeks for the protection of the society. The society has to be protected too. Those of us in sciences, physical sciences, like in chemistry, physics, medicine, agric, and all that. You use some chemicals that may want to damage the environment. Ethics says that no, we cannot, because we are seeking for knowledge and we are using our own seeking for knowledge to destroy the society. That is one other thing that ethics wants to achieve. You observe that the importance of ethics is not just in preventing abuses. You see, I've been talking abuses all the way. You also want to foster credible, reproducible, and socially beneficial outcomes. You want your outcomes, your findings to be credible. It should be able to produce something meaningful. It should be able to produce something people can defend. It should be able to produce something that if another person wants to do it, you should be able to reproduce it, be able to replicate it. That is why in research, you are expected to state everything you did in your procedures. You have to be very transparent with everything you did, so that in case somebody wants to reproduce your work or they want to replicate your study, maybe not in the same place, even if it is in the same place, they should be able to get similar results, at least, if not exactly the same. So ethics wants to ensure that It is not only preventing abuses that matters, but we want to ensure that you get credible results, you get results that can be replicated, that can be reproducible. At least if people don't get exactly what you got, they should be able to get something very, very close or similar. Then the outcomes should be socially beneficial. We want something that will benefit the society. It's not just I'm doing something for doing its sake. I just want to take a PhD. So let me quickly just put something together. You go to AI, write something and copy everything, paste it, and submit it. That is not research. Ethics says that whatever you want to do must benefit the society. It must be credible. It must be reproducible or replicatable. Then next, you also observe that it will enhance validity because it will minimize bias. Once our biases are minimized, don't get yourself involved in the research. You are just a reporter. You don't put in your own bias. I always tell my students, people say effect of family background on academic achievement. And I begin to wonder, what will your result be? Some people believe that once you are from polygamous house, you will perform poorly. Don't we have professors on this campus who are from polygamous homes? These are questions people should begin to ask themselves because of their personal biases. Some people say once you are from a monogamous family, you must perform poorly in English because people don't talk. Are you saying that we don't have people who are professors of English that are from monogamous families? People are already involving their own biases. Hello? Please, this person should mute their microphone. Please, let's mute our microphone. Then it should also minimize conflict. You ensure that ethics will help us to minimize conflict. If your result has caused damage to the environment, to the society, or to people, they should be able to track you down and make you rectify it. In fact, in our studies, we have to include those things that we can use to rectify possible challenges that we expose participants to. As much as possible, we should not even expose them to serious challenges that will damage them. Because unethical practice can invalidate findings, it can damage our reputations. So the study of research ethics becomes germane. So if we ask you to provide reasons why you feel the study of research ethics is necessary, these are some of those things we want to raise in your response. Now, let's look at the evolution of research ethics. Research ethics are believed to evolve from responses to egregious violations during World War II. The report says that, or history says that there were certain occurrences during the World War II. Captives, those people that were captured during the war, they were being used as experiments, even against their wish. They were used in long-term studies that withheld from them their rights, their well-being, their happiness, because they believe they are criminals. They are war criminals. They are war captives. So they withheld certain things from them. They withheld because their freedom is already withheld. They subject them to certain treatment, maybe certain chemical. They want to see the effect of that chemical on human beings without minding what will happen to them. Other inhuman treatments were also given to these captives. They did all these things to these captives and criminals against their consent. People did not agree. It was done to them by force. Like if you go to prison and you want to study certain things on them, you take chemical there, you apply it on them. After all, they are prisoners or people in correctional centers. That was something like that happened during the World War II. But some people rose up that this is not fair. They are still human beings. That somebody is a captive or somebody is a slave, and that somebody is a criminal does not mean it's not a human being. It still has the person still have his or rights and privileges. So these people were stopped from doing that, and they were even arraigned. They were taken to court after the World War II, and some of these physician doctors, they were convicted and also sent to prison again. That was basically the recorded evidence of practice of ethics at all. So ethics became popular, particularly in medicine, long before it is used in other professions. Consequently, the World Medical Association made a number of declarations to protect subjects and then to caution the physicians. Then, it was medical doctors that were actually using this in human treatment. And apart from that, they were the ones that were subjecting these criminals to different kind of tests, using them to validate the efficacy of drugs and all that and all that. Some of these, excuse me, please let me close this window. I think this noise should be disturbing. Hello, sorry, the fine arts workshop is very nearby, and the noise coming from that place is so much. So I felt it may be disturbing the class. So there are certain declarations that were made then to stop people from maltreating research subjects, as they were referred to then. And then to caution the physicians from making use of people for such experiments without their consent, and that may create problem for these participants. Some of these proclamations or declarations included the Nuremberg Code of 1947, the Geneva Declaration in 1948, the Helsinki Declaration in 1964, the Belmont Report of 1979, and the CIMS of 1993. All these ones were spread out, they are spread out in your book, the PG College Handbook on this research course. Please try and get yourself a copy. Everybody should get him or herself a copy. It is very, very important that you have a copy. I want to hope that the PG College will compel everybody to have their copy. Once you have your copy, it is your property for life. So these proclamations now establish three major ethical principles. There are three major ethical principles that were established by this proclamation. These three ethical principles permeate all these declarations that were made in order to protect research, in order to protect the society, in order to protect the human race, and then make our results more usable, more valid, and more friendly. They are the respect for persons. Then the second one is called beneficence, and then the last one is justice. We will look at them one after the other. Let me start from the respect for persons. From the 1979 Belmont Report in particular, a foundation framework for ethical research based on three principles came up. Although the three of them permit all the three, but it was specifically stated during the 1979 Belmont Report. And I said I was going to start with respect for persons, majorly comprising of two sub-constructs of autonomy and protection for people. Autonomy of our respondents or of our research participants, and protection of these participants. Now, this particular principle recognizes that individual is an autonomous agent capable of self-determination. This principle is saying that any participant in our studies or in our research is autonomous. He has right to have the autonomy. He can decide whether he wants to participate or he doesn't want to participate. He can decide to start and stop in the middle. He can decide to start at any level. He can say he's no longer interested and leave the, you cannot force him that, maybe you agree to participate in this research, why are you leaving now? No, that is the principle that says the participant is autonomous and it should be protected. Secondly, this principle also requires informed consent. That is to say, we need to brief that, we need to brief our participants, our research participants, or our respondents about, one, the goal of this study. Anyway, we are still going to talk about them later. We are still going to talk about the goal of this study, what they are expected to do, what you will do as the researcher, what are the pros and cons, what can happen to them, what can come to them, either positive or negative. You have to fully brief them before they can say, okay, I agree to participate or I don't agree. But despite that, they still have right to say, okay, I'm no longer participating. I want to drop out. They still have right to do so. Another aspect of this respect for person is the additional safeguard for those with diminished autonomy. Some people, we have so much power over them that we can make them do whatever we want, particularly children and the cognitively impaired people. They have diminished autonomy. Respect for persons insists that we still have to respect them. We still have to respect their autonomy. We still have to protect them. You said you want to administer questionnaire on children. Maybe you go to staff school, you want to administer questionnaire on children. You cannot prove to me that they are autonomous in such a situation. You will read the questionnaire to them and you interpret it. What you are passing to that child is your own personal view. It's not the child's view. That is why other methods are expected to be used when you are studying children, not questionnaire. I don't say, okay, let's allow the teacher to help us take it for him. Oh yeah, and then the teacher will carry cane and will beat the child. Oh yeah, well, what is the, well, how will you do so thing? You beat him again so that I can talk. Will you say yes or no? Say yes. No, you are supposed to say no. You beat the child. Is the child autonomous? There should be additional safeguard for those with diminished autonomy, particularly children. And also the cognitively impaired. Some people have cognitive impairment. In education, we talk about people with short attention span. They don't even have time to be reading the whole of your 35, 56 units, items in your questionnaire. They don't have that time. So you must inculcate it to your instrument that some people are, they have short attention span. And then you have to make your items, anyway, we'll talk about those ones as we go along. Then another one is that the respect of persons as a principle counters historical exploitation by mandating the participant to be voluntary and informed. Like I said, this principle ensures that you don't force people. You don't say, oh yeah, tell me you are voluntary. Oh yeah, sign here that you are voluntary. Oh yeah, sign here that you are informed. You have to inform that person and let him or her take his or her decision. It's not compulsory that that person must be your subject. Even when he has to be your subject, you have to do it by persuasion, not that you must force him or her. Another one is the issue of beneficence. Beneficence is that principle that makes researchers, that enable research to maximize potential benefits and minimize harm to the respondents, to your research subjects, to your research participants. You have to maximize their potential. They should see that they are making some additional benefit from your study. Not by bribing them. Anyway, we are still going to talk about that. But they must see the benefit of that study to them and to their life. And then you must find a way of minimizing the harm to the barest minimum. If you reduce the harm to the barest minimum, particularly when they have to involve rigorous risk-benefit assessment. They look at the pros, they look at the cons, and they see that the benefit far outweighs the minimized harm. You will see that they will be ready to participate in that study, and then the study will be more valid that way. That is to say, beneficence goes beyond non-maleficence. Non-maleficence talk about you don't do harm. It's just one side of beneficence. The other side has to be taken into cognizance too. That is the issue of minimizing harms. So we have to combine both, ensuring maximum potential and maximum potential benefits, and then minimizing harms to our respondents. So non-maleficence is not exactly the same thing as beneficence. It's just one half of beneficence because it prevents harm to the respondent. But you have to, that one presents harm to the research participant, but you still have to maximize their potential benefits. Then it also requires scientific validity and social value. And that means that we have to ensure that we include scientific validity and social value in our study design. When you are doing your research design, you have to ensure that there is scientific validity included in your study. That is to say, that instrument is actually measuring what is expected to measure, not measuring something else rather than what you want to measure. Apart from that, there must be social value. That is, it should be of some value to the society. Now, the third one is justice. That one demands that the research burden should be equitably distributed. The benefits should also be equitably distributed between the respondents and then the researcher. It's not that the researcher has all the benefits or the respondents also have all the benefits. The researcher should also derive from benefit. And majorly, the benefit of the researcher is in the quality of responses or the quality of data that you are able to derive from the responses produced by your research participants. That is to say, you have to prevent the exploitation of vulnerable groups, and then you also ensure underrepresented population gain from advancement. You don't say that teaching method, the teacher, you want to compare two teaching methods, and you take the conventional teaching method to the rural area. Your new method that you say is likely going to work better, you now do it inside the urban centers. There is no way the underrepresented population will be able to gain from such an advancement. So it means you must have two rural areas. One will use the conventional, one will use your new method. And then the ones that are using those conventional, after you have finished what you are doing with them, you still have to give them some aspects of this new method. When you have finished your study, give them some aspects of this new method and let them also benefit from these advancements that you are gaining from your study. Now, these principles are now applied to a number of strategies. There are some strategies that we use to apply this principle. One of them is what we call informed consent. What is meant by informed consent is that the respondents produce consent as a result of the fact that he has been properly briefed. He or she knows what he or she is going into. He or she knows what are the roles he or she will play in this study. They will also know what the roles you, the researcher, is going to play in the study. If there is any possible issue that may come up from that, they have to be informed. You have to inform them of the time that the study may consume. You have to inform them of any benefit that may accrue to them too. Before they now take decision based on that, they already understand what the study is about, what are the possible outcomes, what can happen to them, either positively or sometimes negatively. They already understand before they now say, okay, I want to participate. So informed consent is talking about ensuring that participants voluntarily agree to involvement in the study after understanding the risks, the benefits, and then the alternatives, what they can do instead of doing what they want to do. Yes, they must have clear and graphic understanding of the risks and benefits in particular, and possible alternatives. Now, some of the elements in informed consent include disclosure of information. That is, you must open up to them. You should allow them to also open up to you, and then let them know that there are some studies you don't want them to share the information that they may have in the course of the study with any other person or with any other group. Else, the findings may be contaminated. So you have to properly disclose to them the information before they start. Then they must have the capacity for decision making, the voluntariness, and then they are free from coercion. You are not going to have to force them. You give them the impression, let them know that they are free, they have the right to make decisions as at when due, and that this study is completely voluntary, that they are not coerced. Then all these pieces of information has to be on a form that is called consent form or informed consent form. It must be comprehensible. They should be able to read it, understand what you have written there without you having to explain to them. It must be comprehensible. It is not right for you to give people informed consent form or even instruments, and they don't understand unless you explain to every respondent. The participant should be able to understand the informed consent by himself with little or no intervention by the researcher. Then we can say that consent form is comprehensible. If you avoid jargon, because some people believe that if there is no big English, they will not respect you. They will not know you are a PhD. They will not know you are not completely fair. They will not know that this your study is important. You should avoid jargon. Make the language as simple as possible so that they can understand it easily without you having to come and sit by there and tell you, this is the meaning of this. This is what I am saying here. No. Let the person be able to feel it the way they understand it. Then it should be tailored to participant literacy levels. You have to tailor your informed consent to their literacy level. You will observe that the way secondary school students will understand certain pieces of English words may not be the same way that we understand by the university student. You can also not compare the literacy level of the university student with those of their lecturers. So you don't say this instrument is for lecturers and students, or for university students and secondary school students, because literacy level will vary. The concept form, you have to sit down, read it, come to their level, ensure that the statements can be clearly understood by the simple English, considering the literacy level of your participants. You can begin to use big English when you want to talk to professors and all that. Okay, good luck, but ensure that what you have put there is comprehensible, that people can understand it. Now, for vulnerable groups, sometimes you may want to use surrogates, but you have to ensure that that person agrees that you use that surrogate. Very recently, we were collecting information, and we were to administer it to a research participant who is visually impaired. And the girl said, no, I don't want anybody to read it to me. I don't want anybody to help me put it on a braille or put it on my WhatsApp. So we copy it and place it on her WhatsApp. She has a text-to-speech program on her WhatsApp. So she put her phone and she was following that instrument, and she was putting her responses on another WhatsApp page. And she said it was, that was what we copied, and that we used as our own set of responses. So when you want to use surrogates, you have to ask the individual whether he or she wants somebody to come to her aid to help her, or maybe to dictate to her or to explain to her and all that. The respondents may say, no, I don't want anybody. I want to do it myself, particularly when it borders on some private constructs. You observe that in Africa, any research that you want to do on sex, you must be very, very careful, because people really not want to talk. Research has shown that when you want to do something like that, particularly for a couple, you go with both sexes. If you're a male, you go with a female research assistant, so that while you are talking to the male, the female person will be talking to the female. Then the person will be free to talk. You don't expect a female to talk to you about her sexual experiences freely as a male person. So when you want to use a surrogate for a respondent, you must seek the consent of that respondent. Ask him, please, can we allow this person to speak for you? It's possible that the person does not even want, he doesn't want that surrogate to know what his or her responses will be concerning that item you are asking him or her. So we have to seek. So informed consent contains all this. These are elements that will come up in your informed consent. Another, confidentiality and privacy. The confidentiality, we try to safeguard the participant data. You prevent unauthorized access and misuse. You must be able to assure the respondent that the data that may come from his or her responses to your research work is safe and it's personal, it's private, and can only be used purely for research purposes. Because in today's Nigeria, politicians may come to you and they begin to lobby, please, that information you get about that person, please, I need it, I will pay any amount. It's not ethical for us to release such information to any other person. And don't save such piece of information on media that can be easily accessed by somebody else. Imagine you save it on your phone and the phone has an error, it has an issue, and you have to give it to somebody who will help you repair. Maybe the person who gave you the information is the repairer's wife. And there are a lot of issues that the lady has raised in her responses to your questions or to your items. And then the man, so this is what she told the researcher, so I got it today. You have to ensure that your data are privately saved away from any other person so that it cannot be misused, it cannot be abused. Apart from that, you have to inform, you have to assure the respondents that any information that they share with you is safe. And then you have to explain to them, how do you want to ensure this? We have to protect this piece of information from breaches as harms like stigma and discrimination. They are possible if we violate information breaches. For instance, people that are living with HIV, you want to study them, they want to be sure that their information is safe with you so that they don't go about with stigma. And people say, don't talk to him, he's having HIV. And people ask, say, I have found it from that Lagbaja's research. It's not right. Then apart from that, the third one is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest arises when secondary interests like financial gain, risk of compromising primary obligation when they come up. Now, if the respondents know that you are giving him or her money, if he says certain things in his or her responses, if you say what you want, it's a conflict of interest. I mean, if you two know that you stand to make money out of this, it's a conflict of interest. For instance, you ask some people to help you collect data from some set of respondents, and that for every 200 that they collect, every 200 questionnaires they bring back, they will take 10,000. What do you think will happen? You observe that they can even sit down in their own room to take those things and bring them 1,000. You know that 1,000 is 5 times multiplied by the 20,000 you want to pay for 200 responses. So conflict of interest may arise in such a situation. But sometimes when there are conflicts of interest, please be honest enough to state them that these type of things may constitute conflict of interest to this study. they want you to go and collect data from a place, maybe from your village where people know you. It's a conflict of interest already, because they know that they will, your data will be, their own data, their own information will be at your disposal easily. If they are private matter, they don't want to really open up. So disclosure and management will reduce bias. Now, let us look at some basic theories that inform ethics. There are some philosophical theories that inform ethics. Generally, just like every other phenomena, no universal theory can be said to inform ethics. No, none of them can be said to be the universal theory that inform ethics. But there are some that actually can be fingered as some of the theories that provide that provide framework upon which ethics in research is built. One of them is what we call principlism. That one talks about respect for autonomy. You know, we have mentioned that, so you agree with me that this philosophical theory supports ethics that way. In principlism, we also find non-maleficence, that is, you don't do harm, and beneficence, do good, and justice. All these are included in principlism as a philosophical theory in ethics. There's another one, consequentialism, that is the principles of common good. Once we want to prevent damage to the society or want to prevent damage to our environment, then we can say we are after the principles of common good, because if it is something good to our environment, it will go around everybody. Another one is virtue ethics. Those who are thought to be good will do what is right. What he's saying is that if you are actually good, it is expected that you do what is right. Another one is utilitarianism, which are actions that achieve good results are judged to be moral. So what we are saying is that if you have uphold ethics in your study and it comes out with good results, then it is judged to be moral. Say, that thing is good. These are some of the philosophical theories that informed our knowledge of ethics.
Sorry, Prof.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yes, I just to inform them that the attendance code is already shared. So they can log in into their Moodle now and do the attendance while you continue with the class, sir. So if you have logged in Moodle before, log out and then log back in. So that way you'll be fine. Thank you. You don't have any problem. I've explained what you need to do in the short video I posted this morning on our platform. Prof, thank you, sir.
Please, can you go over that once again, because some of them are joining for the first time.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just said the code is, somebody is asking me, Tobi Omotosho, are you not on our platform? You are asking me if you have to fill both. I don't know. Some of you don't read the information on the platform. I said it in that short video I posted that you only need to do one. Anyone that is available to you. If you have the two, only do one. If you do it on both attendance, the system will knock you out. It means you have not attended the class. The reason why we created the two, the second one, was that because some people said that they could not access or see the first one. So whichever one that is available to you, just click one of it. If you have the two on your platform, just click one and put the corresponding attendance code on that. It's very simple. This is PhD class, please. This is information age. You shouldn't be asking every question that has been treated. Once you can read, then you don't need to ask questions again about it again. One of the major challenges that we normally face is when you're on that platform, you don't read information. You just come in through, you swipe through over 50 or 100 messages that you have seen. You don't study it, you don't follow it. If you have been away for 1 or 2 days, I expect you to go through all the line by line what has happened while you were not there. But most of the time, once we just come in, we just write our message. What some people were asking me for the link that, oh, we couldn't get to Zoom. Zoom is filled up. What do we do now? Majority of us know what to do now because I've posted the link to the YouTube times with that number. People are still asking that question. So summarily, so that my prof can continue with his class, it's very simple. You have those code there now. You only need to key it in the appropriate place. Click on one of the single attendance if you have access to 2. Click on new attendance and use the corresponding code for new student attendance as well to do your attendance. It's very seamless. Very, very seamless. Very seamless. So it's as simple as that. Thank you. So that's all. That's all about now. Prof, I'm done, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if Professor Shoyelu is online. Maybe we want to just chip in 1 or 2 things, so I'll at least say good morning to the class. Professor Shoyelu. Professor Shoyelu, are you on? Okay. It appears he's not on. He's unavoidably absent today. So I want to assure you that I will try my best to stand in for him. You know, but I'm going to try my best. So thank you very much. So let's continue from where we stopped. We have discussed that philosophical theories that inform ethics. Right now, I want us to look at sorry. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Okay. I want us to look at ethical standards. Let's look at some ethical standards. First and foremost, we should ensure as postgraduate students, particularly as PhD students, we should ensure that none of our research will cause harm to anybody, not to our respondents, not to us as the researchers, not to the society, not to the environment. We must ensure as PhD candidates of OAU in particular, the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, a foremost university, and people respect us with our ethical standards. We must ensure that no harm should come to anybody as a result of our research. Particularly those of us that are working with human beings in the social sciences, in the humanities, we must ensure that our research does not cause harm, whether psychologically or physically, or even health-wise, physiologically. Those of you in health sciences, please let us ensure that in pharmacy, even in other areas of sciences, zoology, botany, microbiology, and all that, let us ensure that our research does not cause harm to our respondents, or even not to us. Apart from, we have to know that our participants have the right to be well informed about the procedures and consequences of such. You know, we have mentioned that by the time you want to carry out a research, you want to now involve somebody, you must provide informed consent. I want to assume that you all understand what is meant by informed consent. Our class today will not be long, but at the same time, I'm going to try to properly touch all necessary parts. We have to ensure that our participants enjoy informed consent. They have the right to be informed. They have the right to know the procedure. They have the right to know the consequences. They have the right to know that they are free, that they can participate voluntarily. They have the right to know that they can drop out at any point. They have the right to know that the results of the research can still be transmitted back to them so that they know the result of what they did. That informed consent is very, very important. Apart from that, participants should be free from coercion or pressure. Don't say, I know some of us are lecturers in our universities or colleges of education, and then we say, okay, oh, students, by questionnaire, 10, everybody must go and look for respondents to fill the 10 for me. I need it urgently. I want to use it for my PhD work. If you do it, it's 5 marks. If you don't do it, you fail. You are coercing them. It's a form of coercion. Some of us who teach in secondary school, so you are class captain. That's your joy. You have just administered only 10. You begin to beat that person. Go and do my work for me, Jare. You are coercing him. Or even respondents. You lock them inside the class until you finish filling that in today. You won't go out. You are coercing them. Participants should be free from coercion and any kind of other pressure. You see, it's always very useful for us to encourage our respondents to not just respond to 1 or 2 items in our instruments. They should respond to all the items within the end, but you don't pressurize them. You only encourage them. You don't pressurize them. Participants have the right to give informed consent before, that is, their informed consent must come before participating. Not that, don't worry, you will fill informed consent form later. Let's be doing what we want to do. You can fill rather, the informed consent must come before they begin to participate in your study. Then you should uphold honesty as much as possible. Be honest. If you are supposed to go and administer your sample size is 1,350, and by the time you get to field, you only found only 800, 810. Be honest enough to come and tell us that that's what I found. That's what we could get. You write it under limitation to the study. Maybe, please mute your microphone. Somebody is talking. Please, can you mute your microphone? Yes, mute your microphone so that you don't disturb the class. Like I said, you should be honest. Integrity is the cornerstone of research. You should be able to tell us this is what happened. Sometimes they say, okay, they said that I should administer 1,005 and I don't have money. I cannot travel to clinical, and you administer only 300 and then you multiply it. You are not saying the truth. You are not saying the truth. You administer only 300. That is, you only selected 300 people. We are supposed to select 1,500 people. You are not saying the truth. You have to uphold honesty as much as possible. Then participant confidentiality and anonymity should be maintained. You have to ensure that, apart from promising them that their responses are confidential and that people will not even know who write a particular thing, you have to ensure you do so too, honestly. Somebody raised it in the comments that how do we ensure confidentiality and privacy when our data is going to be given to somebody else to analyze for us? Yes, as a matter of fact, as PhD student of OAU, you should be able to analyze your data yourself. You to go and learn. There's nothing too special about it. The rest of us who are able to analyze, we also learn it. You are not born with it. You also learn it. But where you must give it to your to somebody to analyze for you, please ensure you give it to some people who understand the ethics of research. Don't give it to quacks. Many people are just looking for money. They don't know the importance of information. They don't know the importance of the data you have collected for your studies. Particularly those of us in health sciences, pharmacy, microbiology, please, let's be careful. Let's give our data to people who understand the importance of data and its privacy. And as much as possible, you will not be able to expose the names or other identity of people who fill a particular questionnaire. That should be in fact, on your instruments, generally, not only questionnaire, on any instruments, you are not expected to include information that may give out the identity of anybody. But there are some studies where you still need this identity. Please keep that identity separate by the time you want to give the data out to somebody who may want to help you analyze that data. So as much as well, it's our duty as researchers to ensure confidentiality and anonymity of our respondents. It's our duty. We have to do so because we can expose our respondents to a lot of problems if their information gets into wrong hands. Some people can use it against them, even in politics. Some people can use it to stigmatize them. In fact, some people can use it to even laugh at them. So as much as, particularly those of us in counseling, we have to ensure that we properly protect information that we get from our clients and that we want to use it for research. We have to be very, very careful in handling them. Another one is collection and storage of data must comply with data protection policy and guidelines. Yes, let us look for data protection and policy guidelines in research. We have to ensure that we comply with all the provision of these guidelines. In fact, I think I read it somewhere where they said we have to make sure we store our data on media data outside our system, so that even if our system gets into a wrong hand, it will not be used against our respondents. Again, researchers have a duty to disseminate research findings to all appropriate parties. You have collected data, you have analyzed them, you come up with certain results. You should disseminate the research findings back to them. You will observe that so some of these big research works that are done, they include it as part of the condition that you have to disseminate the findings of those results. If you say, okay, you want to test 3 teaching methods, which one is better than the other? After getting the one that is best, you should bring the students together and show them that this is the best, or you bring the teachers together and say, this is the best method that is good for teaching social studies. And then teachers will also know that, okay, this method is better. Even if I'm not using it now, I can learn it and begin to use it. It's an ethical standard that we have to respect. There are other ethical standards in some other areas, particularly for sciences and agriculture, particularly in animal sciences. I'm sorry if I'm not able to explain this one very well. I want to hope Professor Tuyelu will be around to be able to help me contribute to this. I'm not in that area, but I'm going to try my best. Now, their guiding principle for ethical use make use of 3 R's: replacement, reduction, and refinement. In replacement, they want to avoid the use of human beings, or they use animals in replacement of human beings. When you want to test something on human beings, you rather use it on animals than using it on human beings. You test it on some mammals. If you want to test it on human beings, test it on mammals, and let us see how it does. If it works well, then there's a probability that it will work well on man. Then the second is reduction. Use of processes that enable researchers to obtain comparable level of information from fewer animals, or to get more information from the same number of animals. If you are supposed to have used 50 animals and you reduce the number to say 20, then reduction is an ethical standard for Greek. And then, or on the other hand, from the same number of animals, you still get other pieces of information. Then refinement, use of methods that alleviate or minimize potential pain, suffering, or discomfort, and enhance animal well-being. It's one of their ethics. I don't know if they use this one in dental. Those of you who are in dental, in dentistry, because I've removed one teeth before, and I don't know whether you use this method to help us alleviate or minimize pain. It can be very, very painful, but we thank God I'm still alive, because it was the removal that gave me the relief. We thank God for them. If not for them, like I'm also. So in refinement, they talk about ethics in alleviating and minimize potential pain. They can minimize potential pain, suffering, or discomfort, so that we can also enhance animal well-being. Yes, we come back to our book. I'm encouraging you to get a copy of the book from the postgraduate college. It is very, very important for all doctoral students. All doctoral students should have a copy. I want to plead with the PG College to evolve a mechanism that will ensure that every PhD student will have at least a copy. It becomes your property. There are a lot of information in there that will be very useful. Most of the PG College has been very magnanimous in ensuring that that single book will be used for the two courses, both 901 and 902, when they should have separated it, so that we have that of 901 separately, 902 separately. But you see, the PG College has been magnanimous to ensure that only one book will cover both courses, so that you don't have to buy a new one. So I think they have been fair enough. So let's try and get a copy so I can guide us in the use of, the learning of ethical standards. There are some other books that you can also subscribe to: Ethics in Agriculture, Ethics in Engineering Practice and Research, Guidance for Research Ethics in the Social Sciences, Law and the Humanities. These are books. And Ethics in Social Research, they are ebooks. So you may want to check ebooks online and see if you can get them either to buy or maybe they will release it to you. Then we also have the journal article, Ethics of Using Rats in Scientific Researches. I think at this point, I will want to thank you for listening, for taking your time to come for classes today. Dr. Awuleye.
My prof, thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure, sir.
I think maybe they have questions. Some of them are already typing in the chat box. Yes. But if there's anyone, while I'm compiling the one in the chat box, they can signify before you leave, sir. So if you don't want to speak, you can also type it in the chat box. Then I can read it out for him. It's available to answer our questions. We also have the provost on the chat. We thank you, Prof, sir, for coming. I think after the Q&A, Prof is going to address us. I think it's very important. Please, let's still hold on because this is still part of the class. The class is still on.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for the lecture, sir. It's so something. Sir, my question is that in these days we discover that it's not so easy to get people to fill questionnaires to act as respondents in research. At times they will ask you what do they stand to gain in it, as in like financial or whatever form of benefit. And if at the end of the day, we don't get enough respondents that we anticipated, will that affect the results and the acceptance of that project at the end of the day, sir?
Thank you very much. Is that all?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, yes. In fact, recently I am encouraging my students to begin to depart from the use of questionnaire. Questionnaires are meant purely for survey. And there are so many other methods that we can use. There are so many other kinds of instruments that we can use. But people have seriously abused questionnaire a lot. What they call questionnaire sometimes are ratings.
It's like we have lost Prof. Are you still there, sir?
Studies, all these things, and still get very useful results. Hello? Should I go on?
Well, we lost you in the last 30 seconds. Maybe we just rewind what you said in the last 30 seconds.
Okay, what I was saying is that in today's world, we encourage people doing mixed method studies where we can combine both quantitative and qualitative. I said, yes, questionnaires have been heavily abused. Some of those things they call questionnaires are either rating scale or inventory or whatever. But there are still other approaches there are other types of instruments that can be used. People can go for qualitative methods like interview, like observation, like sociometric studies. People can go into all this and still get very interesting results. But if you must use quantitative approaches, you can make use of even tests. You can make use of inventories. You can make use of different kinds, even projects. We can make use of different kinds of approaches to get our information. But where we must use questionnaire, let us ensure that it is properly constructed. If it is well constructed, people would like to fill. And you read some of these questionnaires, when you read, you will just laugh. Because you observe that the statements there, they are not even speaking to the problem of the study. And in some cases, when they do, they will not go in line with response format. In some cases, you have a single sentence asking 3 questions, and you want the respondent to pick only one answer for 3 questions in one sentence. So in many cases, people are already fed up with questionnaires, particularly towns where you have universities, college of education, everything in one single town. Questionnaire to the same set of schools and bombard them with questionnaire at the end of the semester every year. That's how it is. Let us also move to rural areas to carry out our studies. Let us move to other states to carry out our studies. Everything must be first central. What do you expect? So that's for that. And in some cases, you go out, you plan maybe having 1,000 respondents, but by the time you go out, you are only able to find 700. Well, if that is the case, you must report it, one, and then write it as part of your limitation to the study. But even it shouldn't have been so if you had done your homework well. Before you go to field at all, you're supposed to have carried out a sort of pilot study. Go there and say how many people are there. Somebody said you want to select 120 teachers from each of the schools that will be selected in Osun State. And I begin to ask them, which school can you find 120 teachers in the whole of Osun State? Where can you find 120 teachers? In one single school. It means that person did not go out. He didn't find out anything before he or she begins to write maybe for me or whatever. So we should first of all, doing anti research does not help us. Go out and find out during your proposal. Look at what is feasible, what you can find in what you can find in the field. And we should stop ensuring that the only places where we can carry out our study are in urban centers. There are so many local governments and people who have not been visiting for research. When you take your questionnaire there, they will be happy to help you fill it. These are some of my own observations concerning that.
Thank you for that response, sir. We have other questions here. I'm sure the person that asked that question is satisfied with that response. Somebody is also raising up his or her hand. Let's allow you to speak, and then I'll read other questions. Temiloluwa Ojopagogo, you can unmute yourself and speak now.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Please, Prof, I would like to ask, I've seen situation whereby people propose to have like 500 data collected via questionnaire and they got 50 responses. And I've seen where they multiply the responses by 11 and just use that. So I want to ask if it is ethical or it is wrong.
Thank you very much. It is very, very wrong. It's not ethical at all. Because before you can choose 550, you believe that those 550 will be able to represent your population. Maybe your population had been, let's say, 5,000 or 10,000. And you felt that 550 will represent them, either by determining your sample size through Talayamani formula or sample size calculator or research advisor or any of those ones. You now said 550 will represent your population very well. Now you now take only 5, only 50, and now multiply it by 11. So you are saying that 50 people are representing 10,000 people. How do you think that will be representative enough? So the information you have gotten from that 10 people is biased, just on one side. Only one set of people is given that information on behalf of the rest. So we cannot generalize what you have found to the whole population. So you are misleading the research public. So it's better you don't carry out that research. Go and enjoy your life. Leave the research alone to those who can do it. It is not ethical at all. It's not just only unethical, it's also criminal, because the information you'll be giving the society may lead the society into trouble. Thank you.
Okay, Prof. You can lower your hand. While we're waiting for Temiloluwa, please lower your hand so that we can see others that may wish to ask questions. Then another question is
maybe she still has some. She still needs some clarification. Please, let's find out.
No. She has not lowered it the first time, and I think she's fine. Are you okay, or do you still want to clarify anything?
Yeah, I'm okay, sir. I've lowered the hand already. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Somebody is asking, is it right to give gifts to respondents because they mostly ask what they can gain in return?
Yes, this issue has been a matter of a lot of disagreements among researchers. So people believe that if the gifts are given after the responses, that is okay. But giving them the gift or telling them at the beginning that they will get a gift may want to bias them to providing you with the kind of responses that you would like. But in many cases, if you had given the gift to somebody before and they hear about that, once we go for this person's research, you will get a bucket. Definitely, they will be interested, but you should be able to design a means of ensuring that you extract the kind and proper information that you need from these respondents. But I don't see what is wrong with giving gifts maybe after providing their responses, because in today's world, people are already fed up. They don't even have the time. But once they give you their time, I think they should be they should be given something in return. I think so. And I think I've participated in some studies. There's a study I participated in. Bill and Melinda Gates study, family health and study, something like that around here.
Prof, please, I want to mute them. You will mute yourself again, sir. I will mute all now, and you will mute yourself again. Prof, you can unmute yourself again now, sir. Thank you.
Hello. The person has not unmuted himself. Please look for the person. Hello?
Prof, you can speak on now.
I think somebody is raising their hand. Somebody, Dorcas Bakari.
Yes, okay, that's fine. The person should hold on. Let me read one or two on the chat box, and then we can attend to those on the platform. Somebody is asking, wants to know if he said, if I have to carry out my research for 8 weeks with certain number of respondents, if the number got reduced in the middle of the research, what should I do? Let me come again. I don't seem to understand that myself.
I
but
think
maybe,
I understand. I think I
you as
understand
a
that
teacher, as a
yes.
as a educationist. Yes, sir.
What happened is that please, I have a very important call. Please, can you mute me briefly? Let me quickly tell you the person. It's from outside Nigeria.
Prof, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to respond to that?
Yes, that's what I'm doing. I said, yes, definitely it is expected that, particularly for experimental studies, it is expected that there will be some kind of mortality among research subjects when we are doing experimental study. That's why we always encourage our respondents to have more than 30 in each of the groups. But where such things happen, please kindly report it. Once you report it, it's okay. It's ethical. It's ethical. I think it's possible. Other questions?
Okay, that's fine. So let me ask another question. This is coming from YouTube. I think the fellow wants to know if 2 seconds. I want to get more clarification on utilitarianism. Does this principle mean that the end justifies the means?
No, not really. But the utilitarianism talks about getting usefulness from what you have done. It's not the end justify the means. It's saying that if your results are able to produce good results, if it benefits the society, then we can say it is moral. It's not end justifies the means. We are saying that your results should be good. It should benefit the society. If it does, then it is moral. But if it doesn't, if it does not, if it damages the society, it cannot be moral. So the utilitarianism is not end justified. It means that once there is significant difference in my result, then it means my research is good. No, that is not it. That's not what we are saying. It's not even correct. You can do a research and it's called that the intervention that you want to do in an experimental study does not work. Yes, it's still a result. It's allowed in research. You can say, okay, this intervention method that I have proposed for addressing social problem did not work. So we know that we should not go looking for that again in future. So it's not the end that justifies the means that they refer to as utilitarianism. Rather, it is that the fact that when the end is good, then we can say it is moral. But if the end is not good, we cannot say something that damages the society is moral. Moral talks about the right or wrong thing. Something that damages the society cannot be right. That's my response to that.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, sir. I still have 2 other questions in the chat box, but then let's allow Dorcas Bakari to unmute and then ask her question, and then we can move on.
Good morning, sir. My question is about respondents, especially in a participant observation, in a setting where it is participant observation. For example, when you're trying to study language, I observed that people would prefer putting forward their best foot, which it might not be what we need, because we need them natural. We need them to do exactly what they would do in situations like that, to speak the same way they would have spoken in situations that we want to investigate. Is it okay to not really be truthful about what you are searching for so that you can get exactly what you want? Then maybe later tell them that, oh, this is what we are doing.
Thank you. It's not that you are not truthful about what you are looking for, but participant observation talks about altruistic observation. That is to say, you are there, but initially they don't know why you are there. They don't even know what you are looking for. Take for an instance, the commonest one, the easiest one that we have been seeing in movies. There is the suspicion that somebody is an armed robber. They send a lady to him to become his girlfriend, and the lady will perform properly as if the person is truly his girlfriend. and the lady will begin to search inside the house, will begin to look for information and begin to pass it on to to her bosses. Even she will pass on information on how to get that person arrested, what time he used to leave out, to the extent that the person will not even know that anybody is monitoring him. So if you are doing participant observation, you're supposed to do it in such a way that they will not even know that you are trying to collect certain piece of information, or else you will disturb the natural flow of things. For instance, in education, when we want to study aggression or aggressive behavior among young people, you can't go to them and be playing rough game with them on the playground. We make use of non-participant observation. This time you may be from far off and you look for an instrument that you can use to watch them, or you record their play, and then later you can sit down and analyze it. But in participant observation, for instance, you want to study how OU students use colloquial English, for instance, or they call something, they call it code mixing, code switch, code whatever you call it in language. I'm sorry, I'm not in language, but I think I've had that one before. Code mixing, something like that. Yes. So you mix with them. You also, as you are talking to them, as you are playing with them, you walk around with them, with their friends, and then you listen to how frequently do they code mix. What kind of circumstances encourages their code mixing? This of that nature. They will not know that you are doing your research until maybe at the end of your data collection, you tell them, okay, I've been with you for so time, and just say I have to come and collect information about so. No, it's not about what you are discussing. It's about those things. I mean, it's about the way you mix languages together, Yoruba with English, with broken and all that. That's just the only thing I need from you. That's all. Then you can call that one a participant observation. But if you want to be a participant of observation for criminals, and they already know that you are a policeman or you are an investigator, definitely they will hide everything from you. Maybe you should have used a non-participant observation in that situation. Somebody else is raising his or her hand.
Okay, bro. Before that person, let me read the two more questions in the chat. Somebody wants to know if the effects of, they want to know what are the effects of conflict of interests on the quality of research work, most especially when people give invalid data to researcher because of monetary gains. The effect of conflict of interest.
The person has already answered the question. It raises the validity of the study.
Exactly.
Both internal and external validity will be affected, because it means what you think you are studying is not what you are studying. And what you get eventually may not be in tandem with what is happening in the society. You find out that somebody cannot pass mathematics unless he's already 25 years of age. You will see that that one does not have external validity, because that is not happening in life. You don't have to be 25 years of age before you pass O-level mathematics. You don't have to be. That's what we are saying.
Good. The other question is, how can I go about it when respondents don't allow me to record their voice during oral interview?
No, we call it oral interview. You have to inform them from beginning that this study is about this, about this, about this. You have to, first of all, explain to them what you are trying to do. What are you trying to do? If you don't inform them, of course, they will not allow you to record them. But inform them, let them know that this is what the study you are carrying out. It's not, you can't do that one secretly unless it is non-participant observation that you are carrying out. I mean, unless it's participant observation, that is, it's not just recording of the interview. But if it's an interview, you have to inform them right from the onset and let them agree to participate.
Okay. I hope that person is satisfied with that. So, Leko Pale, you can unmute now and ask your question. Are you there?
Another little day is raising the answer.
Lekon Pale, are you there? Okay. Any other person? I can't see any hand again.
I think I saw one Olodude just now.
He has lowered it. I can't see it again.
For that recording oral interview, it's important that we record them because you are still going to transcribe what they say. It is their view that you want to analyze. So you must encourage them to let you record. That is important.
The profs are on that as well. I was going to say that is it not possible, because what we are trying to do is we're not bribing them, where it's like an incentive, and that has been our experience, especially in this part of the world, in Africa, in Nigeria in particular. People will not give you their time if you can't give them anything in return. That has been the experience for me as a person and for some of my research groups when we go to the field. But I think when you tell them that, please, we want you to complete this thing as honest as possible. But I remember when we were working on rice, there's a rice project, and we got to Akure. You'll be surprised to note that even as small as 200 naira is, those elderly ones, they collected it. In fact, one of them collected it, and he went to go and buy gari to feed himself that afternoon. It was that bad. We were there while he was completing the form. He sent somebody to go and buy gari 200 naira one thing, and he was now listening to us because we were assisting them to complete the questionnaire. It was then he was ready to listen to us. So I mean, that difficulty is there for us, especially in this part of the world, because of the level of poverty. Because for me, I don't believe that in any way it will influence their response. We are not asking them to falsify. We are not asking them to tell us what is not correct. But we are telling them just to I mean, some of the time, when you buy Coke at times for some people, they're ready to listen to you. But it's to gain their attention. After gaining their attention, then the rest is left within us, between the what do you call it, the interviewer and the interviewee to do the needful. So that has been some of the things that has been in place. So
many experts in ethics, they discourage the use of monetary incentive. But my view is that the incentive should not come before the response, because, and it actually depends upon the kind of study you are carrying out anyway. There are some pieces of research, I mean, there's some pieces of information that you want to extract from people. Once they do that, money will come out of it, they begin. Let me give you a very good example. There are some interviews that they carry out online on Facebook. And you see that when somebody promises that if you do this, you see people rushing in, and then even people be giving stories that did not even occur to them. They will tell you something happened to them, and they'll be telling stories. By the time the interviewer now wants to refine the data, you discover that person will tell a different story. So we have to be careful with the way we use incentive anyway. These are my own observation. Then there's one Toby Omoto Show said he or she has a question. I have a question, sir. Toby Omoto Show, please, if it's there, let us quickly discuss it, and then
I've responded to him.
I'm having another class at 12, and it's far from here.
And so maybe you should just ask now. But I think the next 5 minutes we should just be done, so that I'm sure the provost is still online. He would like to address the house.
Good morning, sir. Let's say good morning to the provost too. Please, can we have the provost address now? Because it appears to be a motor show is not coming up.
It's not ready. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Prof, sir. Provost, sir. Oh, okay. I have to ask him to unmute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I've just done that. Prof will speak to us any moment from now. I guess. Okay, so who is raising up his hand? Someone is raising up his hand. You can unmute now and speak to us. Aji something. Aji Instruments. Please, let's ensure that we always use our names. Don't use any alias. Don't use any code. Don't use any number for when you are coming online. Please, let's always use our name. So, Aji Instruments, can you unmute now and speak if you have any question?
Yeah, good morning, Prof. Yes, based on what we have been taught this morning, and you have actually told us that giving just to appreciate the respondent, that is not something that is bad. That is not bad. But now my question now is this: how can you now carry out a research without being biased? Because there's no way you will give something to a respondent that will not influence maybe his response towards, that will not influence his reaction towards the research or what you actually wanted him to do. So how can you now be free that, okay, you just want to carry out the research without, being biased, just go straight to the point that, sir, this is what I actually want you to do, without putting anything to influence or to sell yourself that, okay, you are this. That some people can say that this is trying to appreciate the respondent. No. So how can you? Because to me, I see it as, a form of being biased. That, okay, you are carrying out a particular research, you have already given out a particular gift. Then how are you going to get certain result at the end of the day? How are you going to get, come out with the fact that the results supposed to give to you? So that is my question, Prof.
Prof, are you there?
Oh,
you did not
unmute.
You did not unmute. But
okay,
we can hear you
I
just
think
now.
I've unmuted now. Thank you. Let me go back. I said, personally, I always support incentive, but after the responses, after the participation of that respondent in the study, that's when I can bring in the incentive. And I don't support giving money. I don't like giving money. But at the same time, like somebody said, that most of our responses have been inundated with questionnaires and different kinds of instruments. So people may not want to give that information that you are looking for. But when you go, even with ordinary biro, there is a study we are carrying out. We bought flash drive. We are supposed to talk to lecturers. What do you want to go give lecturer? And I want to tell you, if you really want to know how difficult it is to get information, go and do studies on lecturers. You will see that it may not be as easy as when you do it for others. So what we did was to buy flash drives, and we engraved the name of the study on the flash drive. So by the time they know we are giving something, at the end of they were prepared to give time, okay, come at so time. And they sit down to listen to us. And then they provide the information that we need. And then we give them the flash drive. And then we say, thank you very much. Take our leave. So I'm of the opinion that if you can properly manage the release of the incentive, there's probability that you'll be able to get very valid information from our respondents. There's another case here, somebody who raised the case of some the study they want to carry out, but it's on children, and that the children are unable to give consent or respond to certain questions. They cannot even interpret the question. So does the parents responding in that regard reduce? Yes, it reduces the validity. That is why you have to ensure that when you want to ask children questions, you have to simplify, you have to come to their literacy level. Unless they are very, very small children. And I don't encourage using questionnaire for very small children. You may want to observe them, you may want to interview them, you want to ask questions, even from the parents and their teachers. But you will have to put it in your report that you collected the information from the parents and their teachers. So these are my own observations concerning that. I don't know if there's any other question. Lisa, I have another class now by 10. I mean by 12, sorry. By 10. Yes, parents can put responses to the children's mouth. Even ordinarily looking at him like this, you will change your response to. If you ask them, so parent, if I ask you, sir, is your parent irresponsible one, will you say no? At least you cannot see that in their presence or any items that borders on such a thing. It may not be a direct question like that, but any items that borders on that, you may want, particularly even if you want to say the truth and they are around, you have to be careful the way you present it. It may destroy the relationship between them forever. So bribing a respondent is not ethical. It's not ethical at all. But giving incentive at the end of the thing, I think it's okay.
Thank you so much, Prof. Okay.
In the absence of any, I think I can take my leave.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we have the last question on YouTube. That person is asking about, he said, thanks for the lecture, sir. My question is, what is utilitarianism as an ethical theory focused on? What is utilitarianism? I don't know, maybe.
Utilitarianism. It's talking about utilitarianism.
Yes.
That is, we believe that once your result, that philosophical theory says that once your result once your study achieve good results, then it must have been moral. You know, we started from morality as principle of right or wrong. And your study, you are looking for valid results. If your valid comes out, if your result comes out valid, then it's supposed to have been, it is adjudged to have been moral. Or on the other hand, if you do your research morally, if you take into account morality, research procedures, you are likely to come out with a good result. What that one means.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof.
Leave. I have a class. So
yes,
please.
I think we have to go now. That's about all. We have taken everything except one last person. You have to be brief, please. You have to be brief. You only have 30 seconds to ask your question, and then Prof will respond to that in another 1 minute. I'm going to permit okay, Bebianiye and Kunle Olowu. You ask the questions together. After okay, Bebianiye, Kunle Olowu, then Prof will now respond. Are you there now? I've requested that you unmute yourself.
Please, can they put it on their platform? I can send the answer later.
Good morning, Prof. Good morning, our coordinator. Thank you so very much. I am not actually asking a question. I just want to make a very brief contribution. Yeah, when it comes to influencing participants when they are carrying out a research, the little I know, to the best of my knowledge, while working with communities, rural community people, community dwellers, I discover something. For example, if you are doing, let's say, snowballing, for example, where maybe a respondent have to link you up with another respondent, and you get to that person's house, and you just, the person, before looking at the person physically, you could see the person is maybe hungry, or the person needs medical attention, and you cannot just say because you are going to influence this person's response, you are not going to help until the person, you get the response, then you can then render help. Yes, fine. These things are not cast in stone. I believe they are flexible. We can bend them to whichever side in order for us to get our response. That's one. And then secondly, there are ways that you can even influence participant respondents, even their response, even without giving them cash or incentive. For example, let's look at FGD. You know, when a particular respondent is giving you the answer that you want, the fact that you constantly nod your head, you constantly push the answer to that person, the questions to that person, you have already created an impression in the minds of others that that person is saying what you actually wanted. So for me, I believe it's not cast in stone, it's flexible. You get some places where you know that this person actually needs help. You give whatever help you can give. In order, then you go ahead and ask your question. Even the way we frame our questions alone can tell some respondent that this is what this person wants me to say. So that's just all I want to say. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you very much for your contribution. It's noted.
Thank you. That's a brilliant one. Yes, Kunle Olowu.
Good morning, sirs. Prof. My question is this, sir. Thanks so much for the lecture. I want to ask about these assistants, hiring assistants in the field of taking data and stuff. How can we actually know that these assistants has actually done what we have, or is there any way we can know, or how will it influence our result? How will it influence the result at the end of the day? So I'm only asking about assistants hired for research. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Hiring assistants is not strange. It's okay, particularly if you have a large number of respondents on your hands and that you have to touch within a limited frame of time. But you see, it is normal that if you must hire research assistant, you have to provide them with training by experienced researchers, not by you. Although you also make your contribution about the goal of your study, what you want to achieve, the kind of data you want to collect, how you hope to go about it. Now you now bring experts, at least one or two, in fact, at least nothing less than two, that bring perspectives in data collection and train these people on how to collect data. not just on how to manage the instruments alone, but how to relate with respondents to ensure that they collect the proper kind of data, and how to help them navigate difficulties that they may come across when they get to field. It's where after you have given them that training and they already know what you are trying to achieve in that your study, that they can help you to collect the proper data. Else, they are likely going to collect data that may not even be useful for you. It's always good that when you want to engage research assistants, you should make use of those people who may have done masters at least, so that they know what is the importance of data collection. Thank you.
Prof, that's a very good one. Thank you so much. We cannot appreciate you enough. It has been an exciting time having you on board today. Thank God that the glitch we had initially did not deprive you from coming. You can now say, obviously, sir, that it's always good to hear from the horse's mouth. If taking that, I'm sure I couldn't have given like 50% of this content, because we're professional in this area, and that's a very good one. And I can assure you that some of the comments that the students,
we are all scholars, we are all learning.
You can see the comments even in the chat box that it's been a very good and excellent presentation. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So, students, we have to go now. Unfortunately, our provost could not speak to us because he's in another meeting as we speak. But then we will find time again to interact with her after the first interaction. I'm sure it'll be a nice time. Maybe the next 1 week or less, he would find maybe a special time to come and interact with us, to encourage us and to guide us on what we have to do. Thank you so much. So we have to leave now. We have to go now. I believe everyone has enjoyed the class. So fortunately, you can also fall back on this recording again on the YouTube channel, on the YouTube page, to revisit it and play it as many times as possible. If there are some areas that you have missed, even before you join the class, you can cover that up as we speak that. So in this same vein as well, again, we are going to continue same time next week. Thank you, and God bless you. And please just ensure that you read the information on the platform. When you read information on the platform, it's good for you. It's good for you. Because if you have been absent on that platform for 6 hours for 1 day or 2 days, by the time you get back, don't just swipe. Ensure that you look at some of the things that has happened even while you were not there, so that you won't be asking the same question that have been responded to. So that way, you will be helping us to also help you. You won't be frustrating us. So please, we are trying all our best to ensure that everybody is having soft landing. And to those that have not had the opportunity to, just a few of you, I'm sure you are not up to 10, 15, of logging into Zoom, I would also speak with you at the end of this event. I've been communicating on that platform. By now, I expect that you shouldn't have any problem. But then, if you are still having any 1 or 2 challenges, I may look for a time to have a Zoom chat with you to resolve whatever problem it is. Maybe in the course of the week, in the course of the week or by weekend.
Good morning, class. I'm sorry, I've been held up somewhere, and I've been coming in and out of the class for some time now. I appreciate Professor Adeboale for the beautiful presentation, and I want to thank the class for cooperating with all of us here. The only thing I just want to add is, when we talk about ethics, it calls for a lot of caution. There are certain research that entails you getting ethical clearance. So please do not forget, especially people in health sciences, pharmacy, agric. You are working with human beings, you want to collect human tissues, you want to work with animals, especially rats. Please be on the watch out. You may need ethical clearance. And in case you need one, look out for the ethical committee on campus and get your clearance, because there are certain publications you may want to make. Without ethical clearance, your manuscript will not be accepted. So I just want you to know that from the beginning. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Over to you, Doc.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Shelu. Thanks for that. It's also very, very important. That aspect is very important because if you don't have, they call them IRB, Institutional Review Board. In OU here, we have them at the public health. So you have to go there and seek for approval before you go for your research, especially if your research has to do with human subjects, just like you have said. So it's important you get ethical clearance before you go. Or maybe you want to take blood sample, you want to ask some other personal questions and all of that. So they have to check and peruse your questionnaire to be sure that, and peruse your even methodology or the procedure you want to follow to be sure whether it's important for you to do that or not. So I remember there was a project that needed to collect blood sample from students. But at the end of the day, they are judged that there's no need for you to collect blood sample from students for this particular research. And it was good. So those are some of the things they serve like more or less like regulator, between the subjects, your subject and the researcher, so that at least we will ensure that we are following due process, we are following this the global standard when it has to do with ethics of research. So thank you so much. That's a very brilliant one. Thank you for that reminder. So I think we have to go now. We have to go now. I think we have done justice to this class. Next week is another time. Thank you and God bless. Bye, everyone.